All right, we're back for another episode right now of Show Focus. At least that's what I'm calling it for right now. I had a few other ideas, some slightly inappropriate, and I think this might be the best family-friendly version that I can come up with. So Show Focus is where we're at today, and with me is Kaden Smith, Chase Wagstaff. They are recruiting extraordinaires, and we are going to continue the conversation today on recruiting and delve a little bit deeper than what Russ gave us last week. And although we do love Russ's insights, they're great, but everyone has a different style, and that's what's great about the recruiting effort is that everyone's different and everyone can find different people. So let's talk about that right off the bat. Maybe number one, I want to hear about the way that you guys recruit, or maybe your style of recruiting and how it differs from each other even.
Yeah.
Why don't you go first?
Awesome. For me, I think there are definitely a lot of different ways to recruit. I have found the most success on focusing on what I call a circle of influence. And so, when I very first came to New Star, I even as a first year rep, I decided I wasn't going to go out alone, started recruiting some of my friends. And as years have gone on, I've stayed with that same core of people and just tried to expand upon that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I know a lot of guys think that it's really great, and it can be awesome to go and set up booths at schools or, pass along cards, whatever it may be. But I have found, for a lot of my guys, it's a lot better to stay within that circle of influence so that when you recruit a guy and you motivate them to go and recruit other people, when they do recruit other people and the summers get tough or they face adversity during the summer, they don't only fall on some random guy that recruited them at Vasa or at Lehigh High School. First of all, they're going to fall to their friends who helped them, who introduced them to New Star. And then they're going to come to us. And so they're going to have more support during the summer. They're going to have more reasons to stay out. They're going to have more fun. And it's a way to really, really grow an empire full of people who are there together. It's not a bunch of average, random people who don't know each other. It's one base that has expanded into a team that can support each other on each end. And so, there are a lot of techniques that go into it, but the base of what I do is I try to stay within my group, and I try to just build off of the people that have already come to New Star from those people.
That makes sense. So you work on networking. It's a friend of a friend of a friend, kind of a downline kind of situation.
Absolutely. I view recruiting, and this might sound terrible, a lot of the girls here in Utah County do the multi-level marketing pyramid scheme type thing. Yeah. If you can view your recruiting tactics, if you can kind of view your team kind of the same way, not that you're above or better than anyone or that, there are people 5 levels down from you, but you want to stay within the same pyramid. You find 2 guys who find guys who find guys, and if you're motivating everyone to do it, you're going to have a huge team and a team that is well supported.
That makes sense. I like that. Do you agree?
I agree.
Or what's different?
All my recruiting efforts have been the same. I would say there's 2 levels of recruiting that I've found successful. One, it's obviously leading from the front. My first year I went out and had a really successful summer. Naturally, I had all my friends being like, whoa, dude, I was younger. Kids working $10, $12 an hour jobs. But 2, there's a lot of guys who've been doing this for years and have kind of exhausted that influence, that circle of influence, so they think. I came from a different industry early on, and, I had a mentor of mine that was like 35 that literally had nothing, no recruits. He was a victim role, like, I don't have friends, like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, that guy ended up being the biggest guy at Vivint, which is where I came from. And really, there's a few tactics I've always used with some of my guys is, if you take out a sheet of paper and literally spend 30, 45 minutes writing out 100 people take New Star out of your head, take recruiting out of your head. Just write down 100 people. What that does, it trains your brain to realize people that you forgot about.
Right.
And out of those 100 people, you may find 10 people. It's like, oh man, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
And it just opens your mind to realizing that you know more people than you think you may know. And everyone's like, oh, I've already exhausted my circle of influence, which is false every time. I may think that right now, and I'll go home and do it today, and I'll find 10 more guys.
Right.
By doing an exercise like that. There's other exercises, but from there, I think it's really important. I think Kaden's got some good insights on this because me and Kaden do a very similar thing. But when you have friends that you haven't spoke to for years, the worst thing you could do is contact them about New Star.
Yeah.
Or just right out of the gate, say, hey, I got this opportunity or whatever. That should be 3-4 steps down the road. So yeah, I'll let Kaden share some of his insights because Kaden, I mean,
well, I want to know. So you say that your method then is just to contact people within your realm,
within my realm,
with not maybe your close network, but at least somebody that you know. How do you start that conversation? How do you said you might not have talked to them for years. How do you start the conversation?
For me, I'll just send a message to them, whether it's Facebook, text message, whatever it may be, and just say, what are you up to these days? Cool, let's go grab some lunch, or whatever. However I connected on that level back in, maybe been 10 years ago since I've seen this guy. I'll try to do something that's very innocent, that by no means they think I'm trying to recruit them. I try to
catfish them. Are you catfishing them? Is it a bait and switch?
No.
Or is it more than that?
No, I'll give you an example. Just the other day, I had a buddy. I was working out early in the morning, and I had a buddy that I haven't literally seen probably for 7 years. And just conversation, dude, what are you up to these days? I'm working for New Star, having a great time. It's an amazing experience. But then I just move on.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? And I start talking about them. I'm more interested in that guy.
Yeah.
If I want to recruit somebody successfully, I want to know what they're doing. I want to know. I want them to talk. I don't want to be the one talking about how amazing New Star is.
Right.
That'll naturally come later.
Right.
I spend my time putting the ball in their court because everyone likes to talk about themselves.
Right.
I mean, regardless, if you say you don't, you're lying to yourself. Everyone wants to talk to somebody and tell them their accomplishments. They want to, do that. And so if you do that to those people, you say, man, what are you up to these days? And then you just start digging and prying.
Mm-hmm.
You'll naturally find out, oh, this kid's in a dead-end job, or oh, this or that. And they'll remember early on that you said, oh, I have this amazing company I'm working for. It's awesome.
Right.
It was just real quick, though. Move on. And then start talking about them. Because they're naturally going to ask you, how are you doing these days? What are you up to?
Yes.
So that's my tactic. I spend all my time talking about them, asking the questions of how long you been there? That's awesome. Good for you. Just digging as deep as I can to get as much data as I can. And then I'll end the conversation. I'll do good seeing you. And then maybe 5 days later, I'll reach back out. Hey, let's go grab some lunch.
Right.
Let's go back to the gym. Let's do a workout. I'll work out 2-3 times.
Not bringing up the first conversation.
No, it's pure. And I'm not trying to say this to be fake. Like, obviously I want to recruit this guy, but I had a friendship with this guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the kid I'm telling you about right now from the gym. Like I've gone to the gym with him 2 times since I've had that conversation.
Right.
And just naturally over the gym conversations, you know what I mean? It's going to come up.
Right.
But I'm not forcing that. You know what I mean? When you force that agenda on somebody, it's the quickest way to just say, nah, dude, I'm good.
Builds a wall.
Yeah. How many times have we been hit up from insurance guys trying to do your life insurance policy?
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? And you're just like, dude, I'm good. Like, I don't need life insurance. I got it.
I feel that. Kaden, would you say that that's also your method to start the conversation? And you say that Kaden does a friendship thing. So what's your method then?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's kind of like Chase was saying at the end. Everybody hates to be sold. Even, us as salesmen, we can relate when we're knocking on doors. We know it's a good situation for these people. We know we're going to save them money and help them out. But they still don't want to be sold. And
right.
So you have to find a way to do that. And it's the same way with recruiting, especially if you live here in Utah County. Everybody is selling something. Everybody is recruiting. Mm-hmm. Every single one of us has been hit up to sell pest control or security or satellite or something. Our wives and girlfriends have been hit up to sell lip sense, and it works. Like, everyone is being recruited here in Utah. The last thing that a guy wants to hear is a Facebook message from us saying, hey dude, like, how's it been? I've been working for this sick company. I make tons of money. Like, when can we sit down and look at it with my manager? Because we've all heard that 100 times.
Absolutely.
I do a lot of the same things that Chase does. One thing that I really like to do, and, this especially has been helpful for me where I'm a little younger, no offense, a little fresher off of my mission.
Just biology.
Things.
Just biology.
Sorry. I identify as younger and I'm younger. I will get my core group of friends together and invite people that I haven't connected with for a while to do things with my whole group of friends. We get together and play volleyball. We'll get together and go to Topgolf. Mm-hmm. It's, some of the friends that are included in this group are guys that sell with me. Some aren't, some are just our friends that are girls. And we'll do any type of activity like that. I'll invite them just as an extra friend to come along.
Yes.
My mindset obviously is I want to introduce this guy to New Star. But even if it doesn't work out, it's never a bad thing to reconnect with some of these guys. I don't do it disingenuously. It's something that I want to, reconnect with this person. Hey man, we're playing volleyball. Come hang out with us.
Yeah.
And it's just like Chase said. Somewhere along that reconnection, it's gonna come up. Yeah, what are you doing these days? What am I doing? And throughout that reconnection, I want to gather as many pieces of information as I can, very subtly, to know how am I going to go about recruiting this guy. Because one of the biggest problems that you can face as a recruiter is seeing every single recruit the same way. I sit down with you, I'm a robot, I say the same things, I recruit you the same ways I recruit everyone else, because everyone is different. And I believe that everyone around below 25, it benefits them to work at New Star, at least for the most part.
Yes.
You just need to find what is it about New Star that's going to benefit this guy the most.
Yes.
And so during this reconnection, I want to gather that information. So I'm not sitting down with him and saying, okay, where are you working? How much you making? So that I know how to attack you.
Right.
I want to gather that in a very natural, organic way. So then later when I'm sitting down, I can say, yeah, dude, I've loved working at New Star. I know you said, you're working at whatever place, that call center. Dude, I've worked in a call center. It's rough, Yeah. And that way you can know without personally or without looking for that information in a recruiting setting, how they need to be recruited.
Yes.
And so on top of that, other ways that I try to reach out to people, and I've mentioned this before, I don't know if it's something that will work for everyone, but I had a friend who was a girl. She still is. And she was single.
Yeah.
And I sat down with her one day and I said, look, I've got a bunch of guys and you're gonna go on a ton of dates. And so I reached out to friends from my mission, from high school, whoever, and I said, hey man, no, I haven't talked to him forever, but I've got this friend. I think she'd be awesome for you. Would you like to go on a double date with me and my girlfriend?
This is scandalous.
This is scandalous.
Keep going, please.
Okay, but there's a happy ending here,
Yes.
okay? And so, this girl...
But there's many happy endings. This guy. Go on, sorry.
She probably went on dates with 7 or 8 of my friends.
Yeah.
A lot of them, just through that date, I was able to kind of start that organic talking. What are you up to? What have you been doing? And it led to more. A lot of them stayed close with my friend group. A lot of them became friends with her. And that girl's dating one of the guys that I recruited extremely seriously, and I was probably going to marry him. So it was a service.
Awesome.
And so you kind of have to think outside the box. How can I approach this old friend of mine without coming off as a recruiter?
Right.
Because they've been there. They've been recruited. Vivint has already hit them up 53 times. And so we want to be a little bit different. And so it may be manipulative, but for me, it kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. She was single. They were single.
Yeah.
And now they have a better job. So
you can swing that, but, and I know what you're saying. I think that's the problem a lot of people have with recruiting itself, is the idea of manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we sit here and talk about the tactics that we use and things like this. And I know that some guys might get hung up about the fact that they feel like they're coercing their friends, or that they're, it feels dishonest sometimes.
If you're not genuinely doing it though for the right reasons, then it is.
I was going to say, is that the difference then? The fact that that you're truly providing a benefit and possibly a huge financial windfall for somebody.
Well, let me add to what Kane's saying. What I love about his tactic, and I think Nate Creer, for those of you who know who Nate Creer, does a very similar thing. He's creating this group. It's a culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These guys have this fun group, and they're always going out doing things that's non-work related.
Mm-hmm.
Work's just coming up in those conversations. And naturally, the people that are drawn to New Star, within those conversations we're engaging on. But really, for those that know Nate, Nate's always doing these nights at his house where they're doing games and all sorts of stuff outside of work.
Yes.
Nate's always doing it. Kane's doing the same thing, and it's genuine. You know what I mean? Like when I engage with my old friends in the past, I'm genuinely wanting to catch up with them, and then the benefit is, because there's a lot of times where I'll do this. I'll go through the path I just explained, and I'm like through the conversation, like, yeah, this kid's not even worth engaging.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to do this for his benefit or my benefit. Like he's got $100,000 salary at this Goldman Sachs or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not like, this kid's working he's got a clear set goal. I'm not gonna pitch him. You know what I mean? So it goes both ways, but you got to be genuine. If you're literally looking at these people as numbers, you'll fail so quick.
I think it sounds to me that the number one step in recruiting is to maybe be yourself recruited to the company. And what I mean by that is if you truly believe that New Star is the right path for you, or that you believe that it can help you yourself, then you're willing to share that with other people. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. That's all it is.
Absolutely. You know, you look at our path to prosperity, you know, the path of progression, you know, like when the recruiting conversations come up, you know, the first thing I always talk about is the growth and the culture, and I don't talk about pay. You know, pay is so far down the conversation, because I believe you could go to Vivint, you could go to Aptiv, you could go wherever you want in this industry. The pay has gone so competitive, you can go anywhere and make great money. It really comes down to genuinely feeling like you said, you're selling a product that you believe in, that you're bettering people's lives. But when I engage with a recruit or a friend or whoever it is, you know, that's genuinely what I'm doing.
That makes sense. So we've got the method then that you guys use for starting the conversation. What are some tools that you use after you've introduced the fact that you think that this could be a good fit for them? What are some things that you're using to get them bought in?
Absolutely. You know, for me, something that I always talk about, and something that I feel is super crucial, is you've got to identify what kind of recruit they are. And I like to look at every guy is one of 4 different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
They're either a bridge guy. It's somebody who's just trying to get through college. It's somebody who's a dreamer, who wants to be Nathaniel. He wants to be Nate. He wants to build something huge. He wants to make tons of money. There are guys who are just social guys. Their friends are going out. They think it'd be fun. Moving to a new city would be a cool experience. And the last type of guys are kind of the need money now. You know, they're about to get married. They need to buy a ring.
Yes.
They want to buy a new car. They're in some debt and they need to get out of it. It's important through that first initial process to find out who you are recruiting, because what you say to them should be 100% focused on fixing their problems. You need to diagnose and prescribe a solution to whatever they're facing. And so if I'm a bridge guy, I'm thinking about how can I study during the school year without having the stress of going to work, a part-time job.
Yes.
And that's all I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to say, hey dude, we're going to go out to St. Louis, it's going to be fun, we're going to go to baseball games. I may throw that in there, but that's not going to be, the main part of my conversation like it may be for a social guy. And so it's so important to not sit down with someone and say, okay, here's my pamphlet, here's page 1. So this is what we pay, you're going to make this. Okay, page 2, we sell DirecTV, because it's just like, a good salesman treats every single person they run into, as who they need to be sold to.
Right.
You're not going to sell to an old lady the same way as you're going to sell to a newlywed couple. They have different wants and needs.
Correct.
The recruiting process has to be the same way. I call it mining for gold. You find that one thing or 2 things that is so important to this guy, how New Star can be the solution to their current problem, and you attack that. And that's all you talk about.
Yeah.
The rest of it's quick detail you may throw in, but you're focusing your efforts on how is this company and this opportunity going to be the solution for the problem or the circumstance that they currently find themselves in.
Yes.
And that's all you do. You just focus on that, and once they get into their head, like, okay, I'm here, I want to be here, the means to getting there is New Star, then they're going to be bought in, and they're going to get excited. And so that's all that I do.
I think that's brilliant. Real quick, can you run through those again, just so everyone can hear that? Because I think it's extremely important and great information. What are the 4 types that you deal with? And then maybe, do you have maybe one thing that each of them are looking for?
Absolutely. So the number one guy, the guy that we all look for is the dreamer. Somebody who wants to build, who wants to have an empire, who wants to run multiple teams in the future, who wants to make, I like to call these guys the guys who think they can make a six-figure summer. Guys who think they can make $100,000. And for these guys, you want to sell them, just like Chase was saying earlier, on New Star's path to prosperity. It's like, hey man, you can go sell security, you can go sell pest control, and be a rep for the next 5 years and make $50,000, $60,000 a year, being, just a rep going and knocking doors. Or here, we're going to show you how to go from a sales rep to an executive in the fastest amount of time possible.
Great.
Our goal is to help you do that. And that's what I'm going to sell on them the whole time. I'm not going to talk about, hey, this first year, here's your pay scale, you're going to make 120 base, because they don't care what am I going to make right now this first summer. their end goal is how do I get here?
Yes.
And so that's what I'm going to focus on. The second guy is a bridge guy. A bridge guy is someone who has a destination in the future that they're trying to get to,
Mm-hmm.
and they need New Star as a means to get there. Typically, they're students. What I will always say to a bridge guy is that during school, you need to do three things.
Mm-hmm.
You need to focus on your studies. You need to have a social life, because what's college without a social life?
That's my point.
And you need to be able to pay for it all, right? You need to be able to pay for your studies and your social life. You need to have money.
Yeah.
There's really only time during a school year to focus on two of those three things.
Mm-hmm.
You can either have a social life and study, but then you have no money. You can have money and a social life, but your grades go down the toilet. Or you can do any combination of those two things. You can never do three.
Mm-hmm.
What New Star will do is give you the opportunity during your time off during the summer to eliminate the money part of that, so you can focus all of your efforts on the social life and on your studies and excel in both of those two categories. And that's something that really helps them see, okay, this is going to be huge. I'm no longer going to work, my part-time job at the library on campus because I won't need to.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, there's the need money now guy. These are the most desperate guys that we have, and they're easy to find. Not easy to find. They're easy to determine.
Right away what they need.
Right away what they need.
Yeah.
Exactly. They have no money, but they want to get married.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting divorced sometime, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They're whatever it may be. Sometimes they need to pay for tuition, and they can kind of be a hybrid of the need money now and the bridge guy. And all of your efforts should be, imagine, how's it going to feel to walk into J. Brooks Jewelers and buy a ring with cash? You're not going to finance it with a ridiculous interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going to feel to buy that new car that you've been saving up for so long, be able to make so much money during the summer that you're not going to have to save for the next 5 years. You can save for the next 5 months.
Yeah.
You want to give them the vision of how it will feel to accomplish that task or that need. How's it going to feel to be out of debt? Watch your credit score start to rise, because right now, you're in a rut and you can't get out of it. And so they need to see the vision of how do I get out of this situation that I'm currently in without, killing myself.
Yes.
And the last guy is the social guy. These are more common than you would think. Their friends have been recruited. A lot of time they've got friends that are dreamers or that are bridge guys, and they're just kind of along for the ride. And I'm going to pitch those guys on, dude, you're going to make a ton of money. It's going to be tons of fun.
Yeah.
The nicest part is, dude, we're going to live in apartments that have got hot tubs. You're going to be out there with your friends. When's the next time that you can move away with 5 of your best friends to Texas and go to baseball games and go to Six Flags? We're going to work hard and you're going to make a ton of money, but there's also this awesome experience that you're going to have during the summer. You're not going to sell them on anything besides, we're going to work hard, but there's going to be tons of fun to be had. And New Star specifically, we put a lot of emphasis in that, we're going to, after 5 on Saturdays, we're going to go do something fun as a team.
Yeah.
And that's what differs us from a Vivint or somewhere else. And so the key to all of it is identifying who they are and prescribing them a solution to their problem specific to New Star.
Yeah.
New Star is going to do this for you because we do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really a simple formula. You figure out who they are, and you give them the solution to their needs as it pertains to New Star.
It's exactly like making a sell on the door.
Totally.
It's no different. Really, the recruit is the customer. You don't go, just like you said, you don't sell a customer an 80-year-old woman the same you do as a newlywed couple. It's the same exact thing.
It makes sense.
I love that. I think that's amazing. I actually learned that recently from Kaden. So just for the record, Kaden recruited 41 people this year that all sold. Yeah. So
41 people
this year.
Yeah.
So the kid knows how to recruit. For me, I feel like the reason why I've had success with recruiting, throughout my years, is I would say like my style on top of everything we've talked about is, it kind of comes from Brad Creer, our owner. When I first came to this company, he told me something that stuck with me forever, and it's who I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But he told me the reason I get out of bed every single day is it takes someone from point A to point B. Outside of New Star, outside of the revenue these guys are generating, he's more interested in saying, hey, here's a young guy that wants to buy a house. I want to see that guy buy a house.
Yeah.
And so when I sit down with guys, all my questions are geared towards what are you trying to accomplish? What makes you tick? What makes you, who are you? What do you like? What are you running for?
Which
You know?
I could see very easily falling into that same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's-
Exactly. And so when I'm interviewing these people, everyone's got different aspirations,
Mhm.
but really it makes you realize where they are in their life. They're either behind a desk in a cubicle or wherever it may be. And what I take pride in when I'm sitting down with somebody, I make them give me the 3 to 5 things that whether it's the next 12 months or 5 years, what they want to do.
Mhm.
And when I'm successful with recruiting somebody, it's always because I promise them I'm holding them accountable to those goals, and I follow through with those promises. When I have all my friends come out, this kid wants to buy a house, or this kid wants to buy a car, or whatever. I have a lot of resources myself. Everyone knows I buy a lot of cars and sell and stuff, so I have hookups. So a lot of friends come to me to help buy cars. But Brad, our owner, is a huge real estate guy, and I've sent probably a dozen plus guys to Brad that had those aspirations to buy their first home at the age of 20.
Yes.
And Brad would send them to his real estate guy and his mortgage guy.
Yeah.
And we, sometimes they have crappy credit, so we get their credit built up.
Yeah.
Outside of the walls of the company, we're helping these kids reach their goals.
Which I would say is a great method for retention, right?
Absolutely.
When you can provide value, true value, that's when you're going to see guys come back year over
You
year.
have to sell it the value. I mean, everyone's, just like Kaden said, everyone's heard the song and dance. I feel like where we have success here, especially at Newstart, and I feel like it comes from the top down because that's how our company's ran, is we take a huge interest in people. You know what I mean? If they're trying to get through school, or one of our guys right now is getting married, and I hooked him up. I have a ring guy that will give us cost plus 10%.
Yeah.
He's there right now buying a ring. It's just like providing value outside of sales. We have hundreds of employees at this company, and everyone's got a hookup somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And when we take these recruits and say, "Oh, that's your goal of yours? Oh, meet this guy," or
Yeah.
Our owner Brad knows all these CEOs around the county. We've gotten guys internships that are just crazy internships that are going through school, or really digging deep and not looking at them as a recruit, but looking at them like, if you're motivated to help these people accomplish what they want to accomplish, that's when the success will happen. When guys are sitting down like, oh, this guy's 100 accounts. I need to get to my 1,000 accounts or 2,000 accounts. I need 10 guys. He's 1/10 of my team. If you get that out of your head and look at this guy as a real human being that's trying to accomplish something, and you're that means to accomplish it, recruiting's a whole different game.
I love it.
It makes you a much better manager to see them, to see their goals instead of their numbers.
Yes.
And there's nothing more rewarding than coming home after the summer and watching guys buy houses, and watching guys get better grades, watching guys, have the time to date the girls that they've wanted to date because before they couldn't, and it makes you invested in them. It all kind of comes together, and it's really rewarding to see, at one point you were just a kid that I remembered from my mission. And now you're buying a house because of the opportunity that you've had and the hard work that you put in, and I'm glad that I was able to have a small part of that.
That's awesome.
That's got to be the root of it all. I mean, that exact thing right there is if that's what you're genuinely trying to do with these people, then you'll have success. Like going back to the very first of this conversation, when I come across these kids or friends or whoever that I haven't seen in 10 years, that's why I'm not even bringing Newstart up, because I want to spend the next 2, 3, 4, 5 times that I'm with this guy to really just, BS with them. What are you up to these days? And see if you can add value to their life, If you give more value than you receive, you'll always win. Every time.
That makes sense. All right, so I want to know, we've kind of gone through now a little bit about opening, how to contact them, what to say, your messaging, but let's hear about the close. Real briefly, how do you close a guy? How do you get him signed? How do you get him bought in?
So for me, when I'm talking with the guy, my main motivation is to let them know that it's a partnership. I'm not trying to wine, sign, and dine you and get you to sign something. I really want to show you the culture. So for me, the main thing is to first off, obviously I got to know that they're serious about this. Kind of do a pullback, say, this isn't for everybody. Come to our trainings. Come shadow me on the doors a few times. But basically, my next goal is to get them to show their face. Once they're showing their face a couple times, at that point I'm signing them, getting them in the system, and selling them on the fact that we're going to go out and sell. You're going to watch me sell. I'm going to get you signed now. So it's pretty simple.
Okay. Kaden?
Yeah, for me, it's really similar to that. I like to give a guy at the very height of his excitement about New Star some responsibilities. And it's almost always a responsibility to recruit his friends. And so, I'll say to a guy, yeah, this sounds awesome, as you can see.
Yeah.
Who are we going to talk to about it? And then when a guy goes out and he starts, reaching out to his friends about it, he's going to go ahead and close himself again.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to sell, when he's saying, hey man, come look at this awesome opportunity. It's going to be great. We're going to have tons of fun. He's going to go ahead and reaffirm that close or that excitement that he's already felt. And essentially I want guys to just become part of the family.
Yeah.
Become part of this team and they close themselves. And so the paperwork for me, just like Chase said, is something that is so, for most of my guys this summer, it was like we already got out there and it was like, oh dang, yeah, I forgot, you have to sign this. Like, we got to get you in the system. But that's not, where a lot of places will say, all right, well, we're going to send you some paperwork. Like, go ahead and look it over, sign it if you want to.
Yeah.
For me, it's not about getting the number or the name on paper. It's I want you to be a part of this family.
Yeah.
And when you are, you're closed. And so maybe not so much of a formal thing. It's a little bit assumptive.
Yeah.
In that way, you can get a guy bought in, and you can get a guy working. You can get a guy, creating that culture within himself and his friends.
I love that. Anything else?
I mean, one tidbit before we end this, I want to end on this is that I haven't mentioned before is for me, when you're sitting down with these guys, if you're not taking notes, for me, I'm always an Evernote, creating an Evernote for each guy. And I want to have a list of things these guys are trying to accomplish, because really how I close my people is promising them and to hold them accountable to those goals.
Yes.
Because we all know we have goals and it's kind of hard to hold ourselves accountable at times. But if you have a mentor, a manager, somebody always, asking you, on a weekly basis in the summer, I would open up my Evernote or whatever I had, and I would look at all my guys and I'd be contacting them. Hey, if we're going to buy your house, you're 10 counts behind pace. You're like, we got to do this, this, and this. So when they see that you're taking a personal interest in holding them accountable, naturally they're going to come. And just like Kane said, the paperwork's irrelevant. At that point, you just got to get them bought in, show them their face, and start becoming a part of the culture.
Which is great, and that'll get more into the managing style. That's actually a big mantra of Brad Creer. I know he talks to me all the time about knowing your guys and knowing what their needs are. And we definitely want to dive into that on another occasion. Absolutely. Thank you guys again for being here. Good talks. I think there was a lot of valuable information, so I hope you were listening and taking notes. And you know what? Speaking of events, we do have Nate Creer's bachelor party coming up Thursday, November 16th, and that's going to be a good one. Bring your guys out.
Not for children.
Not for the weary of
heart.
Hey,
but let's be honest, Nathaniel's going, so we know it'll be...
Yeah, it'll be rated PG-13.
So there we go.
Nathaniel's not doing anything R.
It's going to be a good time. No doubt. But thank you guys again. We'll see you guys next time. And this is Show Focus.